Hello, everyone. It's Dylan from Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything, and welcome back to another Appreciating Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode. This is the podcast where we take a look back at everything Yu-Gi-Oh! Really a specific topic and do a deep dive into it. This is usually a once-a-month series. I do it, of course, with my friend Rarity, Fangirl Rarity. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very, very well, and I'm very excited to talk about this topic, which is not the Season 0 video. That is going to be next month, guys. Dylan, I'm traveling for the holidays, and of course, Dylan's doing a watch-along, rewatch with Season 0 coming up on Twitch, either, I think, this coming week of when this episode comes out, and he wanted to rewatch it during that time, and I'm going to rewatch it during my travels. So we decided to kind of do this fun little interquel. We'll go back to the regularly scheduled updates because it is Jump Festa season. So we thought of doing a special little interlude episode relating to Jump Festa for this year. And I'm very, very excited to talk about all of the things related to what could be announced in Jump Festa this year.
Yeah, this week, Jump Festa, obviously, this coming Friday night, December 20th, we'll be live on the channel, 6 p.m. EST. 8 p.m. is when... Saturday morning, of course, we're just doing time conversions to New York City time, when East Coast in the United States, when Konami will have their latest information stage, and then at 10 p.m. they will be doing a Go Rush latest information stage. So we will be live. Definitely check the stream out if you're interested, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We just did the Yu-Gi-Oh! R manga last month, and this month, because I'm going to be rewatching Season 0 in full on Twitch this coming Thursday, we decided to hold off until next month to do the Season 0 episode. So you kind of get a special bonus episode where instead of looking to the past of Yu-Gi-Oh!, we are simply looking to the future. And that is everything regarding Jump Festa and what we think will happen. There are a lot of possibilities. Yu-Gi-Oh! 9. All of a sudden, people that have been watching Go Rush, including myself, and I believe including Rarity, think that there is a greater chance that we might get a fourth year of Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush, or at least a fourth season, whether it's a half year or a full year, who knows. I ran a poll in a stream a couple of days ago, and 57% of the 100 people that voted said yes, they believe that we are getting a fourth year of Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush, just because there is a lot going on in Go Rush right now, and with the multiverse being talked about not too long ago, I could certainly see them maybe tackling it in another year, for another year for Go Rush, but we'll see. There's, of course, the possibility of a lore anime, there's the possibility of a movie. We're going to talk about all of that, and I've given a lot of my thoughts on the Road to Yu-Gi-Oh! 9 series. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard my thoughts. Rarity, I want to start there. I mean, what are your thoughts right now? Obviously, Go Rush's 11th arc is wrapping up. Could be the penultimate arc, might not be. What do you think the likelihood is that we get an announcement of Season 4 for Go Rush versus a brand new anime?
I honestly think it's about a 50-50 chance at this point, or maybe you could say maybe 60. I do think that with so many on loose ends and character arcs need to be finished, especially my man Yugioh. I hope he gets his act together. If you all are Yugioh fans like me, I hope that he gets his act together and finds that something, aka just stop being Otis's dog and just go back to doing what you were doing. Be that, kind of that. But honestly, with the introduction of the multiverse, introduction of ritual summoning, the ties between Otis's plotline with Yuhi, or potentially maybe it's Yugo or somebody else, Yuamu's redemption, fully realizing her character, Udius with this new devil god transformation, the wild card that is the Go Kwai Duel. I love that guy. He's amazing. Yeah. And so we have him. I just think that there's too much, and as a fan, as you all know, I am a stan of Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5. Both its anime and its manga didn't necessarily have the best endings, but for very different reasons, and we'll get to those when we get to those for the Appreciating Yu-Gi-Oh! Podcast. But I really hope that doesn't happen to Go Rush, just for some transparency, because some people have asked me what my opinion is on Rush Yu-Gi-Oh! I have not completed Sevens. I dropped it very early on. It wasn't for me, but I did keep up with Dylan's content and the spoilers, so I generally know what happens, but I do plan to go through all of Sevens in sub to rewatch it when we get to that Appreciating Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode. So I will hopefully have more context. So I'm a Go Rush fan who doesn't have much investment in the Sevens plotline. So all the stuff with Otis, I don't really care about. I'd rather focus on these original characters than stuff from a previous show. And I thought they were doing a really good job of that in the beginning. With season 1, Yuga's inclusion I thought was great, but I think it's kind of just evolved a little bit too much. But again, I want to see how this all wraps up before I make a final opinion. But I do think there's so much unexplained of Go Rush season 4, and there's potential to go on a full year, personally, especially with the characters, the Darkmen, Epoch, and Goha Yuna, the jerk that she is, lost in space and time. We don't know where they are. We don't know how to get them back. And I honestly don't think that at least Epoch is going to be killed off permanently. We'll never see her again. I think they made her a big part of season 3. And plus she's close to the Lug and to Udius. I don't see her being disappeared forever. I also don't see Goha Yuna. I think the Darkmen were going to vanish anyway if we get all the Valgarians back, which I'm sure we will. I don't think the show is going to end with all of Udius's people being dead. I just don't see it. I'm sure they'll probably think of some magical... Maybe Quaidul pulls the plot device from another universe to make sure the Darkmen and the Valgarians can coexist. I just think there's too much that they haven't talked about. And I think that if they rush it at the end, especially because Go Rush has a very supportive and big fan base in Japan as well as overseas, us over here, Dylan's community and some other communities as well. I just don't really see how they can wrap it up in a satisfying way. I mean, I know that Studio Bridge, generally from what I've seen, has been able to do a lot with a little bit of time. Like the last few episodes of Go Rush, the last 5 or 6, have compressed a lot of plot in there very quickly and very well writtenly. That I think so. So it's possible, but I just don't know what to do. But I do think, as Dylan has said, whatever's coming next, rituals will be involved heavily in Rush and will be promoted in some way. But that's kind of my thoughts on it. So I'd say it's pretty likely. And I would not be disappointed, actually. I know that you would prefer something new, but I'm either way about it. I'm fine with either.
Yeah, I would prefer something new for sure. Now, if it gets announced, I will certainly be, for another year. I would be disappointed, but that disappointment would only last a couple of days. Then it's all right, let's see what this new season brings, because I have enjoyed it, but every 3 years I do start to get that itch for kind of a new world, a new show, new characters, a new environment. And there's elements of it that make me think it is going to end. I watch Ending 5, the current ending visuals that are going on, and that feels like a show ending visual sequence and song. It just does. And could they wrap things up? Because there is a lot going on. I think they could. But yeah, characters like Epoch and Yuna and the Darkmen who have disappeared through the time machine, there's a chance that maybe they're going to play a role in the next show. That maybe they're going to do something like that, and they're not going to resolve those plot points in this show. Or they will leave them as unanswered questions, a la Jean-Michel Raget, obviously a classic Arc 5 character
you really
who went through that wormhole. And we never, saw him again. We have no idea what happened to him. I always joke around that, he's the most likely Gallop character to show up in a Rush anime, because that wormhole could have taken him anywhere. I'm kind of 50-50 on it as well. The more I've thought about it, the more I've started to kind of realize that we very well could get a 4th year of Go Rush. I think it is certainly a large possibility. But let's just say in a few days, this coming Friday, we do not get a final 4th year of Go Rush. And instead, we get a new Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime announced. I believe it's going to be a Rush anime, especially because of the very late debut of rituals in Go Rush. That's why I think it's important to just, and I made a video on it, a few days ago. It's important to just be up to date with the news, because ritual summoning happening in Go Rush, to me, strongly indicates that there is going to be another Rush anime, if not another year of Go Rush, because it doesn't make sense to debut this sort of major main game mechanic into Rush and then go ahead and just end Rush anime. That just doesn't make sense at all. So I can't see them doing something like that. I can't see them just going to a Master Rule anime. I've talked about wanting a hybrid, but Rarity, I would love to know your thoughts. If we get a 9th Yu-Gi-Oh! Series announced here at Jump Festa, what do you think it's going to be? Do you think it's going to be a Rush, or do you think maybe we're going to go back to a Master Rule series?
Oh, I'm 1,000% convinced it's going to be Rush. I think that hybrid may be possible, but Rush will definitely be the focus. It makes sense to me. Considering, again, rituals, and, you know, we're gonna have, Jump Festa, by the way, doesn't just announce anime news, they talk about video games, they talk about movies, they talk about cards, and I'm sure because they have not revealed what the actual ritual cards look like in Rush yet. Funny enough, the episode, Jump Fest, I believe, is the night before, when the new episode airs, so I think they'll probably reveal how ritual works, because I think from the recent summaries, even without those, I think it's pretty likely Yugioh is gonna ritual summon, you know, it makes sense, even if you don't have the summaries, it just makes sense, you know, from a plot standpoint. Kwai-Duel is that kind of guy, you know, he built this whole thing to make sure Yugioh, you know, was prepared, so I think it's not nothing past him to sneak something in there, you know. Big brother technique coming in, just sneak it in, little bro. But honestly, it's really funny because for me, the card game format of a show doesn't matter to me. I mean, I'm a Yu-Gi-Oh fan. I've said first and foremost about the story and the characters, even though I do like the card game. And I haven't played Rush as much of course, the TCG, but I've been getting into Rush more. It's a very fun format. I'm having a lot specifically with Harpies in Duel Links. Really, really love that Maximum deck. Super fun to play. Deck. Super fun to play. And I really want to build Yudio's Galaxy deck because I think the deck is cool. So I would not mind a Rush Duel anime. What I really want more than anything is a return to longer form Yu-Gi-Oh storytelling without 13 episode arcs. Not that I'm saying I don't like comedy. I don't mind the comedy. Some of the stuff in like the Studio Bridges writing and like making things like food items, plot points, or weird items, they're just a little weird. Like, what is it? Yumu made the dark matter out of udon and the dark matter stuff. Like, just, it's kind of weird. But, you know, I think that's maybe just their style and what they particularly like, would, you know, go for it. I just would like a return to whatever we're doing to be more, you know, into a little bit more of a serious angle. Though I do understand that some people are like, well, it's in the Psycho category, which it is, but what's also in the Psycho category are things like Beyblade, Pokemon, Buddy Fight was in there at the time. Vanguard's been actually having a manga in Korokoro right now, which is the main Psycho era magazine. And so they can definitely do those mature stories. And Bridge has, like, Zuijo's entire character is so mature, man. Like, his existential crisis about living. So whatever comes next, whether it's Rush, Master, Hybrid, which I think is going to be Rush, I just kind of just want a more, you know, character-focused story with a long-term running plot and things that do get answered. Because I think sometimes, at least from what I've noticed of Go Rush, some of the times they have these cool, interesting ideas that I just don't think were explained upon or explored upon to the extent, like, correct me if I'm wrong, did we ever really figure out how the Valgarian War started? Did we? Like, who attacked who?
No, I don't think we know how it started.
Yeah, like, I mean, I assume it was Kwai-Duel and the creator starting a war, because Kwai-Duel, like, did make the little mock-up of the enemy or whatever, but we don't even know who they attacked. We don't know anything. It's like they just didn't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
They just told us that this war was happening, which I think they did a good job of showing some moments. You know, Zuijo's whole death scene at the beginning, Yudio's having those war flashbacks, great stuff. I just want more of that. More of a focus on that. Really cool plot stuff that's going into that, the weird and the crazy and the dark. I really want that. Not that I'm saying I don't like a show with comedy. Guys, you know I love Arc 5. Arc 5 is a perfect mix of lighthearted stuff with dark stuff. So that's what I really, really want. But just to end my little tangent here, yes, I do think it will be Rush. Hybrid, maybe small chance of happening, and I do think it will be connected to Sevens and Go Rush, but I really love your idea that is in the alternate timeline where Kwai-Duel yoinked rituals. I think that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I just feel like that, you know, if we get a new show announced here, I feel like that's the most likely. It's going to be another Rush anime, and it's going to maybe be a trilogy, but yeah, I think the idea of having it in the world where Kwai-Duel got rituals from to kind of really dive fully into this parallel world multiverse element, I think would be super cool. And maybe you have a character in that storyline who is at a strength level of Kwai-Duel and is able to traverse the multiverse. I think a story where you are in a multiversal kind of like travel between parallel worlds would be really, really cool. Now, you know, it's funny because I've seen a lot of people say they kind of want a more slice of life, relaxed, you know, down to earth Yu-Gi-Oh anime, and that's the total opposite of that. I like the idea because, one, I think it's cool, and two, because I think it gives a lot of possibilities. You know, what are the chances that maybe even for like 10 seconds they pop into like, you know, Den City and Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains or Heartland and Zexal? Like, you know, even for just 10 seconds, no character needs to show up, but like we see the background while they're like traveling through all these worlds, and we're like, oh shoot, that's, you know, that's Vrains. You know, I feel like it opens up possibilities like that, and that's one of my favorite things in Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, one of my favorite things in Sevens is when we saw Jack Atlas's Fortune, you know, D-Wheel in the background of the Duel Museum, which I thought was the coolest thing ever. Like, it's a 2-second Easter egg, but for me, you know, anything that like ties in the shows like that is so cool. And with them opening up the multiverse, I think the possibilities are endless. Rarity, I want to get your opinion on this. You know, Konami Animation, obviously, in February announced that, well, didn't announce anything. They just dropped the trailer of all these, like, different, you know, archetypes, and, you know, that led a lot of people to believe, oh, maybe we're going to get a lore anime from them. I just did a video on it that came out on this past Friday, and in that video, I went over how in November, Konami Animation came out at a convention and said they are currently a support studio. They are not a studio that can make in-house anime. They are a support studio that can help other studios out, and why I felt that was pretty bad news for a lore anime happening anytime soon. Not to say we won't get one down the road, but there are a lot of people that still believe we might get a lore anime announced at Jump Festa. With maybe Konami Animation supporting a bigger studio, maybe supporting, you know, I don't know, you bring back Gallop or something, and Konami Animation supports them, and Gallop's able to work a little better. What do you think? Well, I just want to know your thoughts, and what do you think the likelihood is that we get a lore anime announced in a few days? Do you think it's something that could happen down the road, or do you think it's probably something that you just don't see happening for a while, or do you think it gets announced in a few days?
I personally don't think it's going to be the main anime if it does get announced. I think there'll be a series of maybe YouTube shorts or come out on their social media pages, kind of like the Chronicles that we saw, little shorts to promote perhaps the lore manga that's going on currently, that, or make it like a short miniseries. Pokemon's done a ton of those. We know they love doing miniseries. I think they just announced one with Ardum Animation, which they did Wallace and Gromit. They announced some more stop motion. There was Pokemon Con. I know we compare it to Pokemon, but similar category, big IP, similar strategies. Fair. I think it's pretty fair. So, and I think that kind of having those shorts would give the TCG fans that little nugget without supporting them directly. If, as we said, they're most likely the main anime is going to be Rush. And I think that makes a lot of sense for Konami as a studio, but that doesn't mean I wouldn't want card lore. I remember during, you did that video where you were talking about people were thinking of your Yu-Gi-Oh! 9, and what I said is I would love a show of card lore, Master, and Rush Duel. So that would be my ideal, combine all three. And I love card lore, and there's so much new, I don't even know if the Rush cards have any card lore that I know of. I'm not, again, big into the Rush card
I'm not sure either. I'm not sure either.
I'd be curious about, like, is there parallel worlds of dual spirits? Because, you know, some of the cards in Rush are, you know, either just legend versions of old cards, or, like, you know, the Dainkido, right, that Mimi used is an alternate version, you know, of Dainkido the Cure Master. Is there some connection there? Is there, like, monsters evolving? Like, what's happening there? Or even, like, the new Red Eyes Maximum, which I'm sure I know you love, our team Red Eyes over here.
Yes.
So the Red Eyes Maximum, like, what's the lore of that? Like, that would be cool. So I think lore definitely could come as shorts down the line, or maybe promotions they play at, like, YCS's or Worlds. But I don't see it being the main Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime. I just don't see it.
Yeah, I'm in full agreement with you, by the way. Like, I don't think, you know, in the video that went out a couple days ago, like, I said I don't think this is happening anytime soon, and I think even when it does, it's going to be, even if it's not shorts, maybe like every couple of months, it's 15 to 20 minutes on, you know, an archetype, and that's kind of the episode we get, but maybe it's released through their YouTube channel, which wouldn't surprise me. I'm only guessing YouTube because that's where they released, you know, the first thing that was like a 5-6 minute, you know, the Card Game Chronicles video in February. But yeah, I don't think the lore anime, you know, series, or whatever you want to call it, the lore anime short series, which I think you kind of said the same thoughts that I had in it not being the mainline anime. I don't think we are close particularly to that being announced. And I would be stunned if Konami Animation was working with another big studio on this, and it was announced in, a few days. I would be shocked, especially because they have not given us anything. And then in November, they basically said, hey, we are a support studio only at this time. Just keep that in mind. Make whatever speculation you want, but they are not a studio capable of handling full projects within their walls, as they've basically said. That could change, but it's not going to change overnight. And so, I don't think we're going to get anything like that announced at Jump Festa. The other thing I want to touch on here, and the other big thing, and we've talked about this now for a few years. I talk about it always on the road to Yu-Gi-Oh! 9, always at Jump Festa, and that is 2004, Pyramid of Light, 2010, Bonds Beyond Time, 2016, Dark Side of Dimensions, 2022, nothing. Broke the 6-year streak, and at the moment, 2016 Dark Side of Dimensions is the final Yu-Gi-Oh! Movie. I have been clamoring for another Yu-Gi-Oh! Movie for a very long time, really since 2021. I understand that COVID certainly changed a lot of things and certainly changed how companies kind of view business and movies in particular. Even the Pokemon franchise has kind of moved away from movies. They haven't done one in a few years now. And you would get a Pokemon movie, it felt like every year, probably like every 2 years or so for like 2 decades. So the fact that they moved away from movies, I think says a lot as well. But it's been a very long time, Rarity. We have Duel Links, which I think is just a perfect goldmine opportunity for a movie. I think it could be the same length as a Dark Side of Dimensions, 2 hours 15, 2 hours 20 minutes or so. And you could have Yugimoto and Kaiba and your original crew, as well as characters from all the worlds, combining, joining forces to do whatever they have to do. I think it is a perfect opportunity. It would make sense timeline-wise. I think they got to tap into it, even if it's not a Duel Links movie. What are your thoughts regarding the potential Yu-Gi-Oh! Movie that could get announced? And I will again reiterate, there's been no news on this. There's no rumors that there's a movie in the works. But what are your thoughts on maybe a movie shockingly getting revealed or confirmed at this year's Jump Festa?
I really hope that it does. I'm just like with you, a Duel Links movie would be amazing. And in fact, this is ideally, I think that if we don't get Go Rush Season 4, and I think a great thing would be to introduce the Yu-Gi-Oh! 9 protagonist in this movie, because then you could correlate it with the Duel Links world. So the first time we're introduced to these characters, the film, gets released globally. If they do a more global-ish release, hopefully. Usually Japanese movies do take a little bit longer. But big anime premieres of newer content or side story content have happened. Like Demon Slayer has been doing their big final arc's going to be a trilogy of films. Like they did that. They also did the Mugen Train arc as well. And that was very financial for them. And the Demon Slayer movies are incredible. Very cool. But I think that would be a great way to introduce the Yu-Gi-Oh! 9 protagonist, and maybe they do have some multiversal abilities, especially, which is something we haven't talked about yet, if the protagonist is female. I would love that. I think would be a really cool thing of all the characters coming together, celebrating this new character, the first female 100% main character who's the lead, not a deuteragonist, the lead. I think that would be really, really cool to bring her in, especially, or even if it's not a Duel Links movie, even just Udius and Yuga, they've already crossed over already.
Yeah,
they've already crossed over in Go Rush. So why not bring in our new MC, but delay the main anime a little bit longer, and maybe they could take some months off for a little bit, or just take some months off to, if let's say Studio Bridge would be doing this hypothetical or being a part of it at the very least. Just give them some time to work on it, or even just a TV special. They don't have to necessarily go movie. Some kind of special event they could do. Maybe like a 48-minute special. I know that a lot of anime have done that recently. Like Demon Slayer's done a few of those. And they've actually released those in theaters. Like I know they've done that for like the first few episodes of a new season. And other films. I think that would be really cool. But a full theatrical Yu-Gi-Oh! Movie would be amazing. I would love it. I think a Duel Links is the perfect place for it, especially when we got the, Kwaido confirming the multiverse in the Rush universe as well. I think that's just... Could you imagine Kwai Duel, Jean-Michel Roger, all the big Yu-Gi-Oh baddies, Merrick, Bakura, like Darkness, everybody
I think,
coming together.
I think it would be freaking awesome. My only concern with that, how epic, because the ceiling is massive, right, on how epic a movie like that could be. My only concern, could they fit all of that in a 2-hour, 20-minute movie? That would, I mean, what do you think about that? That would be my main concern.
The biggest thing, I think that if they were to do that, and let's say we'll go with an idea with, let's say the Yu-Gi-Oh! 9 protagonist is in a movie, let's just say that, just for numbers reasons, just to make it easier. Because then we'll have 9, so theoretically they could do 3 duels. We have a 3-on-1 with the original 3, Yusei, Judai, and a Tem/Yugi. Then the second group, which would be, so the first one would be Master Duel, right? Then the second one would also be Master Duel with Yuma, Yuya probably plus the U-Boys. If they do it post-canon, I assume they would. Yuya plus the U-Boys and Yusaku and I together. And then they could do a Rush Duel for the Rush protagonists of Udius, Yuga, and Mystery, not the Go Rush Mystery Girl, but random mystery protagonist. The new you person. I think that could work, because Dark Side of Dimensions had, I think, like 4 or 5 duels in it. And that's because Rush duels are fast. They could theoretically, they could even have 2 Rush duels in there if they really wanted to, because it's shorter. And I think that would be a great way, because they could release a Rush movie pack, and they could release a Master Duel movie pack as well. And kind of have those releases lined up really well as promoting Duel Links at the same time. But I do wonder if they would wait on a Duel Links movie until there's at least a major antagonist in every single world. And I don't think that... We've had the variants. We don't even have Vector in Zexal yet. We don't have Vector. Arc 5, we have Yuri, but we don't have Zark yet. I'm sure he's next. And Sevens, I think, has Yuo, right? The fusion guy. But they don't have a Goha Yuga.
They don't have
yet.
Otis. And they don't have Otis.
They don't have Otis yet. They don't have Otis.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't have Otis, and then Go Rush obviously just got Zuijo, who was an antagonist, but we don't have Kwai Duel, man. We need Kwai Duel.
I don't think we were getting Kwai Duel for a while, to be honest with you. I don't even know if we're getting them next year, to be honest.
No, we're getting Monobu at the very least, and maybe Rovian or the Lug.
Yuna.
The Lug, the Yuna, yeah. Sorry, we probably get Phaser before we would get Kwai Duel. We get Phaser.
I agree, yeah.
Yeah, so... But I think if they want to do that, they would wait. But I think it would be really cool to introduce this new world through a film and through Duel Links, do some cross-promotion, promote both formats, and bring in this new character. And especially if they want to make it a female character, that would be a big way to bring her up. Because I know we talked about Pokemon a little bit. Pokemon Horizons, following Ash Ketchum is really, really hard. You know, and I believe that there was rumors that Ash was supposed to be in Pokemon Horizons, I think, at some point. Or he may, who knows. He may show up. But it's really, really interesting as to what they could do. But I would love a film. I had a great time watching Dark Side of Dimensions in a theater with my mom. I talked about that during the DSOD episode. One of my favorite memories I've ever had as a fan. And I would love to experience it again, especially if my boyfriend, who's a big Yu-Gi-Oh fan, more friends, just have a big, big event for a new Yu-Gi-Oh movie. And I think it'd be a lot of fun. But it doesn't have to be a 2-hour film. Like, what is it? The other ones are a lot shorter. Like, I think Bonds Beyond Time's like barely an hour, right? It's not that long.
Bonds Beyond Time is 50 minutes.
Yeah, it's short. So it doesn't have to be that long. Even if it's just an OVA. Like, even if it's just a short little 1-episode OVA, or they've done these things before of, like, little crossover shorts, just something of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Protagonist crossing over, and maybe include the OCG Structures protagonist as well, I forget what his name is, include him too, and have just all of them together. I think that would be great, and especially, again, to introduce a female protagonist, which I know you want, I think it's time for one. But whatever comes next, and this is probably a big point that I'm sure, no matter what gets announced, I just want it to be accessible overseas. Now, of course, we're very thankful to people like the Entame Subs group and all the other subbing teams for other languages who bring these shows internationally to us. We would not be able to experience them in their original form without them. So I very much thank them and all their efforts. But we had it so good with Reigns, with that simulcast. So good. And
we did.
I really hope we would get it again, but unless Rush comes to the US, which they're probably not, or at least not right now, outside of Duel Links, I just don't see why they would invest in the money. I just don't think so. But that's the main thing I want, is an accessible release, and that's something other card games have been doing really well at. Like Vanguard's been very good at integrating its Japanese and American audiences. They do premieres on their YouTube channel right away from Japan with subtitles immediately. Then they release the dub on YouTube right after, in between seasons. It's a great release model. And I think Konami could perfectly do that. I wouldn't even mind if there was like a 2-week delay on subs that were official. I wouldn't even mind that. If they needed some buffer, I wouldn't mind that. Just make it accessible. And I think they're in the capacity to do that, but they just won't for whatever logistic reasons, or maybe they just think it loses money, but they get ad revenue off that, they get promotion. I just think it's a missed opportunity that they need to, I think, embrace a little bit. But that's the biggest thing I want more than anything of anything we talked about today, is just accessibility.
Yeah, accessibility. And, I can
accessible.
speak for the Talking Yu-Gi-Oh team, Pete, Cal, Nick T, Dredge, and all them. The 5 of us all are in agreement with you. I mean, accessibility is like our #1 want. And you know who else is in agreement with you? People on the Entame Subs team that have, very generously subbed Sevens and Go Rush for us. One of the main subbers, Aura, I mean, I was speaking to her probably about a month ago, and she was like, honestly, my #1 want for Yu-Gi-Oh! 9, have it be a simulcast again, because they're doing all this work for free, and they just want to enjoy the show at the end of the day, and it's very easy for them to get burnt out, and we're lucky and grateful, obviously, that they do that work. But even the team that does the fan subs, that is also their #1 want. Please give us accessibility, whether it's through YouTube or the Crunchyroll simulcast. I mean, you outlined it. Konami is a $10 billion with a B dollar company in terms of net worth. Even if this is not the most profitable thing, it would be very nice for the fans who have supported them, especially their Yu-Gi-Oh content, for really the better part of 3 decades now. I feel like it's the least they could do, and I hope, like they did with Vrains, they will do this with whatever Yu-Gi-Oh 9 is, but we're gonna have to wait and see. But ladies and gentlemen, we would love to know your thoughts. Maybe there's something that we have not touched on in regards to Jump Festa. It's a few days away at this point. Again, December 20th, I am going to be live on this channel at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is the New York Eastern Coast USA time zone. Please tune in. It is going to be a big night. Even if it's Go Rush Season 4, it is going to be a big, big night. And I want to thank Rarity, and I will link her channel and all of her stuff down below. Please give her a follow. Rarity, is there anything you'd like to promote here at the end?
Thank you. So in terms of, I hopefully should have it out when this video goes out. If not, there's going to be an update video where I'm talking about what's coming up next for me, as well as the Lovable Phantom Crew. The Arc 5 Mystery Project's being worked on. I know I keep saying this every month, but it's a big project, guys. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. It's going to be amazing. But we've got a side project relating to a certain Venomous Fusion user that you all may or may not know. So prepare for the official announcement relating to that as a side project. But I do appreciate the opportunity to come in here with Dylan. I feel like, this is our collaboration. It, helps me still continue to make content with him. It's a very big honor, and I love coming on here, talking with you guys in the comments. If you guys have any questions or anything related to what my thoughts are, feel free to tell them in the comments. I try to respond as best I can. I look through them pretty frequently. So please, I want to hear all of your thoughts on Jump Festa. Did you guys agree with us? Did you guys not? Or something, again, we didn't touch on. Maybe I don't know, maybe they're going to announce a new Yu-Gi-Oh video. We didn't even talk about a video game. There could be a new Yu-Gi-Oh video game. I'd love that. I'd love a new Yu-Gi-Oh video game. Give me World Championship like 2025. And it's just like the DS 5Ds games, which Dylan has now experienced 2 of them, and we'll be experiencing the 3rd, which is going to be fun to see. I love those games. As well, I'd love to see more on the gaming end. I really hope the Early Days collection does well. Well, they'll do more. I hope so.
Same. I'll certainly be getting that. Yeah, maybe we'll get a video game or something like that. Either way, I think it's going to be a very, very fun event. And let us know, what you guys want to see as well, because maybe what you think will happen is not what you want to happen. Those are 2 different things. So give us everything down below. We always try to go through the comments. Rarity, thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you guys all so much for watching. This has been Appreciating Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 6, Jump Festa 2025. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have
an amazing day.
Take care, guys.